So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Easy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us share our top 10 TV shows of 2025. Hopefully, we gave you some good recommendations to check out some shows that you might have missed from last year. So, now for episode 177 of Easy Conversations. I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. So, what's up with the people?
What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day right now. Eric, I had such a fun time on the last episode. Tonight we close out the last of the top 10. I'm super pumped for this episode, Eric. We've been doing our homework all year for this. Without further ado, why don't you let the listeners know what we have in store for them today?
Yes, sir. You all know by now it's the final top 10. It's in the episode title, so we're doing our highly anticipated top 10 movies of 2025. Also one that I really look forward to every year as soon as the new year rolls around. It's a clean slate, a lot of enthusiasm and optimism in terms of movies to anticipate, knocking them off the list as they come, rerunning some of them a few times, who knows. And yeah, so we're in that right now for 26, but for 2025, interesting year for movies. We've touched on it a few times on the pod in the last few episodes there. I think this top 10 wasn't too hard to make for me, I'll just say that. I could have had maybe 3 other movies I was debating between, but for the most part, I had a strong feeling of what was going to be on here. Like we said, I don't think it was an extremely strong year in 2025 compared to maybe the last few years and what we're looking at in 2026. But I still think there were a lot of great movies last year, honestly, and I'm excited to talk about them with you, Matt. What was the list making process like for you before we start sharing our picks?
Well, like you, Eric, it was easy to make my list at the end of the day. I thought the year started out a little weaker than I would have liked, but a lot of heavy hitters at the end on my watch list helped make it easy in the end. That being said, I did miss some of the heavy hitters I did not watch for this year, and we'll get into that later if they pop up on your list. I definitely didn't want to see. I definitely didn't get to every movie that I wanted. Work being so busy right now, and I'm working lots of hours, watching a lot of TV shows, reading now. I'm reading a lot more now. It's taken away from my movie watching. But all that to say is, I wanted to do better. But at the end of the day, I'm very, very happy with my list, Eric, and it was hard to leave off. A lot of movies were left off that I considered great, and I'm hoping you bring them up so we can discuss them. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it was fun making my list, but didn't start off super great for the year, but ended up closing out very well. Yeah, so that's my experience.
Okay, right on. Yeah, I'd agree with that too. It took a while to get into the great movies for the year, and a lot of them were, as typically tends to be, a lot of them were at the back half of the year. Me too, there's a couple that I did want to get to that I haven't had the chance to, unfortunately. So, but all in all, honestly, I feel like our lists will be more different than what they were for our TV shows, where, as listeners know, we had 7 of the same picks. I do not think that's going to be the case for our top 10s today. Of course, there'll be a few picks that I'm sure are on both our lists, but I think we'll have some good variety on here and some good recommendations for the people to share. Last note, I'll just say, for the last few years, 2023 and 2024, there kind of was like that clear-cut number one movie of the year. In 2023, most people would say it was Oppenheimer. 2024, most people would say Dune Part 2. I don't think that's the case for 2025, which is fun in that I have zero clue what your number one is. I was strongly suspicious that it was The Substance last year. This year, I have no idea what you've got for me, and I'm excited. Okay. So that's kind of my last note before we get into our list. So I started us off with the TV shows. Do you want to kick us off for top 10 movies of 2025 with your number 10 pick here, Matt?
Yeah, of course. My last note is I predict in the top 4 we'll have 2 of the same movies in the same spot.
Same spot. Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, I like that.
My number 10 movie, I could not leave this off the list, Eric. This might shock you, but I mean, extremely enjoyable. Okay, my number 10, I have Predator, Killer of Killers,
Nice.
the animated Predator movie. I had a lot of movies fighting for my 10 spot, but then I decided to go on pure enjoyment, and am I going to rewatch this? And the answer is yes. I felt this movie flew by, especially that sectioned off in the different historical times, fighting the Predator. And I just thought this movie was a blast, Eric, and totally unexpected how good this movie and enjoyable it was. So that's put at my number 10, Predator, Killer of Killers, an animated movie to kick us off. Never thought I'd have that on there, but yeah, that's my number 10.
Great pick, Matt. Honestly, I quite enjoyed this movie as well. It was a fun, cool look at different eras for the Predator to be inserted in with different warriors of different eras. And the animated medium is a perfect format for the Predator in that you can do all kinds of unreal action, great violence, hand-to-hand combat, all of that. I think what this, like the biggest strength of this movie though was the variety in that it was kind of like episodic. It almost could have been like a Tales of the Jedi-esque 4 or 5 episode 20-minute segment that had the individual stories and then at the end the culmination of the 3 fighting on the Predator's planet. So this is actually something I would really like to see a sequel to, in that I wrote it in my review at the time. Just keep doing this kind of formula of 3 different eras, 3 different Predators, and then maybe you have the Battle Royale at the end again there, kind of like they did with this one. But I just think there's so much potential here, and in my opinion, this is definitely one of the best Predator products we've gotten in the franchise. From what I've seen, I haven't seen them all there, but it's quite good. Good stuff. So my number 10 is one that it was like I said, fighting with a couple of other movies, but just thinking back to now, back to back. Now we're going with the tight, concise movie that does not waste a minute on screen, but are completely different. And this is actually a movie I've talked about in a movie or in a recommendation earlier in the year. So that would be Black Bag, starring Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett in the lead roles as agents for a British intelligence agency, in which Michael Fassbender is tasked to investigate a potential leak in the agency, one of the candidates being his wife. So it kind of starts off at this dinner scene where he's having all of their colleagues over for dinner, and the night takes a turn in which secrets are revealed, questions are asked. Everyone's kind of just put on the spot by the interrogator, Fassbender, and just the intrigue, the suspense, the twists along the way, and the big strength of this movie for me was the characters. I liked the majority of them. Obviously, there's maybe a few that you're not supposed to, but I found that they injected some good humor in there as well, and everyone kind of is a viable suspect and a candidate to be this double agent, and I just think, like I said earlier, 90 minutes long. Why this also made my top 10 is that this is a movie I feel like I could easily see myself going back to over some other ones that may have been on the longer side that I would not want to revisit but enjoyed a lot. But this one I feel like has that appeal that, you want to watch a quick movie, throw Black Bag on. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So that's my number 10 of the year.
Eric, that's a fantastic pick. Razor tight script. The pacing is phenomenal, like you said. Great acting, and the story kept me intrigued with all its twists and turns. I loved how it ended. I loved the reveal or the conclusion of the story. The dinner table scenes are awesome. Great. I'm glad you have it on there. It's a fantastic movie. It's a little like underrated gem from this year, honestly. Not a lot of people have talked about it. No, great pick, Eric. My number 9, total opposite of my number 10. My number 9 pick is Die, My Love, directed by Lynn Ramsey. It's starring Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. This movie is ultra depressing, hard to watch, but oh my god, was I intrigued and couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. I don't even know if I'll ever rewatch this movie, for a while at least, but Jennifer Lawrence gives an acting clinic in this movie. She's fantastic, as well as is Robert Pattinson. They play a couple in the movie. She's just had a kid. It's a character study of her downward spiral into depression and mania, basically. Bit of postpartum in there, but also deep-rooted trauma from her past. But it's a downward spiral of her sanity, basically, is the whole movie. And Robert Pattinson's just trying to fix it and trying to help, but it's a shit. It's like the whole movie is like a gong show of like her losing her mind. But man, I couldn't stop watching her, even though it was sad and depressing. And the reason this movie's on my list is the performances are phenomenal, and it kind of left a lasting impression on me. This movie did, and it's hard hitting, and this director, she does not flinch away from like hard hitting character studies. That's all she does, basically. Like the Joaquin Phoenix movie, You Were Never Really Here. We Need to Talk About Kevin. Those are both like character studies that are super hard to watch. But this one, Die My Love, was excellent in my opinion, and superb performance by Jennifer Lawrence. She's still one of the greatest actresses of the last 20 years. So yeah, that's Die My Love at number 9.
Nice. This is one that I did not get a chance to see. Was on my radar though, just given the pedigree of our two leads, right? Pattinson and Lawrence, two modern day legends of the game. So that's definitely one that I will look to check out. It looks like only once, because I don't think this is one that you want to rerun twice a la adolescence, if you will. But I don't know if it gets to those levels of darkness. But yeah, so I love that. Love to hear that pick at the number 9 spot. Something different for the listeners there and myself here. So no, good stuff. 9 for me. I almost flip-flopped this with Black Bag, and I'm going to cite again the length as a big factor, but ultimately I think this was an impressive movie, and also given the fact that I've just read the book that inspired this adaptation that's happened so many times, I could not leave Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein off my list here. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, honestly. Bit on the longer side, but it's such an epic. Like when I was reading the book, I was like, how do they cram all of this in an 80-minute movie back in the day? Which I'm assuming they didn't, but here they really had the time and the means to flesh this out into an epic story, a tragedy of Greek magnitude, if you will, where we hear the story of Dr. Frankenstein and his creation, his monster. Brilliant cast, honestly. Like, Oscar Isaac, some people give him some flack in the role. I enjoyed him, honestly. I thought he was good, but the force of the movie and the heart of the movie, honestly, is Jacob Elordi, who's fantastic as the monster, which it's too bad. I feel like he deserved a name, to be honest. He was kind of done dirty there, but great performance. And when we get to the way the story's told too is interesting, where we have Frankenstein's tale, and then we hear the monster's tale. So from his point of view, how he went about life once it was given to him, his struggles and trying to find a place despite being hated just because of how he looks and dismissed, assuming that he can't bring any more value to the table. I thought that was the best part of the movie once we flipped over to the monster's tale. Other great supporting characters as well, and like Christoph Waltz is always solid. Mia Goth was good. So I feel like off the strength of those character performances there was really interesting. And I mean, just an epic story I quite enjoyed. But again, it's really that second half. I was dialed in watching that movie from that point on. And like I wrote in my review, I feel like the Frankenstein is just a scumbag. Like, to him, to dismiss the monster because he can't immediately pick up on things that you might assume a man should. This guy's a child made of discarded body parts here. Like, there's no, you can't expect him to be running before he can crawl, right? So I feel like his, again, level of expectation for what the monster should be able to do was a bit uneven, if you will, and he becomes the monster himself. So no, it's worth a watch, I would say, whether you've read the book or not. It's just a classic story, and I liked seeing it brought to life as the monster was.
Eric, another fantastic choice. What can I say about? I have so much things to say in speeches. Del Toro hit a home run with this movie. He loves the original Frankenstein and the subject matter, so he brought it to life perfectly. Oscar Isaac to me was the star, like just his acting with his facial expressions and his eyes. He's got the perfect eyes for being a scumbag, Dr. Frankenstein. We all know the story, like he's the actual monster, not the monster himself. The monster's like a childlike figure, like wandering and like meeting the blind guy. Like that was a touching little side story.
Yep.
Being prejudiced upon all that, like we all know the story. But no, I thought this was brought to life beautifully in the movie. And yes, the supporting actors were great too. The look of the movie, the costumes, the setting, even from the opening shot of Oscar's family or Frankenstein's castle, like his family's castle, and it was beautiful to look at. Charles Dance as the dad. No, it was a good movie. I'm glad it's on your list. I'm glad you have it, Eric. Yeah. Okay, my number 8 is a horror movie, and it's called Bring Her Back. It's an Australian horror movie produced by the Philippou brothers, Michael and Danny. They actually have a comedy background, those two, from YouTube, but they've done 2 horror movies so far, and they've both been great. Their second one, Bring Her Back, it's with Sally Hawkins, and Sally Hawkins is great in this movie. The movie setup is these 2 kids go to like a foster home run by Sally Hawkins, and there's already a kid there that doesn't talk. So you got the brother and the sister as our main character, but weird stuff starts happening from the get-go. If it's not the mute child that's like doing weird things, it's Sally Hawkins and her mysterious, like, she asks these weird requests of them, and there's all these mind game going on. Basically, the first half of the movie, you're figuring out what sinister thing is happening in this house, and then when you find out, you're like, holy crap. This movie doesn't pull any punches, Eric. It's gory, has like some gruesome moments. It's scary. It's genuinely scary, and that's why it's on my list. It was one of the best horror films of 2025. So, Bring Her Back. Yeah, had to be there.
The most horror dose I could handle in 2025 was It, Welcome to Derry. So this did not get to me. I've heard of this. I've heard it was like a terrifying movie. I think that's a big reason why I steered clear from it. Didn't know to what level and what I could expect watching it, but that's where the appeal wasn't really there for me in terms of, like, I just heard this is a very scary movie, so I'm like, all right, I think I'm gonna bow out on this one. But glad to see it's represented on your list, and what was cited as like probably the scariest movie in 2025 is on your list. So as the horror expert among us here, it definitely delivered and lived up to the hype there. So love that. But yeah, no, I've not seen this one. Don't know if I ever will. But yeah, number 8. My number
fair enough.
Complete opposite from this. It's on the definitely family friendly, featuring one of the cutest creatures ever brought to life in the animated and now live action realm. So I'm going How to Train Your Dragon here is my number 8. And where I was debating, this is another one that I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to make my list, and the main factor being that it's pretty much a full-on adaptation from a beloved and amazing animated movie. It's not an original concept. We haven't really made any great leaps and bounds in terms of the storytelling here. It's really just bringing this adorable CGI dragon called Toothless from the CGI animated realm to, again, the CGI live action realm. But you know what? I love this movie. I had a great time with it. I, felt the emotions watching Hiccup bond with Toothless, be his pseudo father figure, the perception flip on the dragons, what they've been taught on that island, that dragons are monsters, that they should kill them, and they're always going to be at odds with one another, right? That's kind of the theme here. Is you grow up hearing these stories about the way things are and just blindly believe it, but this kind of makes you question what really is and discover that there's so much more, again, in love and breaking past these perceptions rather than uniting over hate. And I feel like that's something that's kind of very sadly applicable today. that comes across in this movie in a great way with a lot of great themes and lovable characters. Again, super cute dragon that reminds me of my cat. And just a hell of a time. Like, I can't wait to watch. Hopefully they make 2 and 3 into live action. And great movie for the fam. Andy loved it too. We had a great time seeing it together. So How to Train a Dragon, number 8 for me.
Another great pick, Eric. This movie rocked, honestly. Like, it started and it ended so fast because I was so into it. I wish I had gone to the theater to watch it. Great story, great messages, like you touched on. The CGI looked amazing. Like, Toothless looked amazing. The actor who plays Hiccup, forget his name, but he was also great this year in The Black Phone 2. He's a good up and coming actor, honestly. I keep an eye on him. He's gonna be really good.
Mason Thames, I think.
Mason Thames, yeah, good call. Such a fun movie, and I love the animated, and I like this one even more. I like the 2 sequels too for the animated one. So I'm with you, Eric. I hope they do live action. The girl was good too. Estrid. Yep. I believe her name was. Yeah, she was great. Gerard Butler. Fun movie. Nick Frost. Glad it's on there. Really, one of the best action movies of the year.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, I'm going total opposite again. Well, not total opposite from your pick. This is in the same vein as my number 8. Yeah, my number 7, I got another horror film. I had to put this Norwegian movie on my list. It's The Ugly Stepsister. What a movie. Honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I like it even more. It's a dark Cinderella. It's a dark take on the Cinderella fairy tale. So it starts off with the 2 sisters and the stepmother. She marries Cinderella's dad. He passes away. Cinderella stays with them, but then they realize that dad actually has like 0 money. Like, he actually lied and he thought the stepmother had money. So they're broke, they're poor, they don't know what to do. There's this ball for the prince, and they want to she's like, all right, daughter, you're gonna have to get all dolled up and pretty because you need to win the prince's hand in marriage. So the ugly stepsister, I mean, the actress isn't ugly at all, but in the movie they kind of make her look ugly, and they're trying to beautify her in the movie with plastic surgery. But this is plastic surgery from a medieval era, so you got this French doctor with chisels and hammers resculpting her face in the movie and sewing on eyelashes. It's very, very gruesome, but man, the movie is so well shot. It was even nominated this year for an Oscar for costume design because it looks amazing, this movie, and it's well acted. It's Norwegian, like I mentioned. It's got a very European classical Gothic feel, very Gothic atmosphere in this movie, very high Gothic atmosphere. All I'm going to say is it's got its shocking moments, really good acting, crazy finale too. Loved how it ended. So The Ugly Stepsister, a dark Cinderella tale from Norway. So that's my number 7.
You took my talking point right from my grasp, Matt. That was going to be what I was going to say, that it got nominated at the Academy Awards for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, actually.
Oh,
so
there you go.
Yeah, no, when I found that out, because I listened to a podcast and none of them knew what this movie was, and then I thought of you right away. I'm like, Matt's seen this. They're like, I've never heard of this movie in my life. It was pretty funny. But yeah, no, so I remember when you talked about it on, I think the same one that I talked about, Black Bag. So nice to see that those movies that we brought up in the summer still have stood the test of time and are on the top 10 and bordering the top 5 for you with The Ugly Stepsister. So right on. We had talked about it last time too, but these are the kind of things that these live action adaptations should be looking to do. And maybe even a Winnie and Pooh, Blood and Honey, right? Like, reimagine these tales that we've grown up with and give them an adult spin. I feel like there is actually a market for that, rather than a one-to-one adaptation from animated to live action. Now, this is ironic of me just talking about How to Train Your Dragon as my number 8 pick, and I'm saying this, but you know what I mean. So I love that. So number 7 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I feel like until we get to the top 5, I feel like a lot of these could have been moved around, but I'm going off of my feelings leaving the theater with this one. I was really high on belief and the optimism that there is a chance, if we keep seeing and making movies like these, that the MCU can come back to life. We're talking Thunderbolts Asterix as my number 7 pick of 2025. And again, it was coming off that kind of a surprise pick that you may recall I did call this would be the best Marvel movie of 2025. That these are like these misfits coming together. No one expects anything great out of them, but they rally together and against all odds beat this great god-level threat in Sentry, I want to say is the name of the villain. And again, kind of come together through their collective trauma and hurt and being discarded, everything wrong going on in their lives, and unite for a greater cause and come out of it as better people, united in a strong group altogether. So Thunderbolts, yeah, this movie would not have worked without Florence Pugh obviously leading the way, but everyone else, Wyatt Russell, David Harbour is great, everyone else involved as well, I thought all did their thing and turned in a great ensemble cast performance that I think is one of the better Marvel movies we've had in quite some time. I have to go back to like maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This is the last one, the furthest back I would go, so 2023. So I think this was, I'm really excited to see the Thunderbolts in action in future movies. They're going to be in the next Avengers, probably the next 2 movies, and then to see if they get their own Thunderbolts 2. I'll be there, no doubt, day quite early on. And but I thought this was a great, like I said, surprise, something different. It's the kind of stuff we need from the MCU. A lot of comedy too, really good stuff. So yeah, Thunderbolts number 7.
Great pick, Eric. Loved seeing this at the theater. It gives me hope for the MCU movies coming this year, which we can discuss at the end of the show. But no, I remember watching this, and the emotional beats in the movie really got to me, like where the story was heading. Like you said, Florence Pugh was so good. All of them were so good, and I was never bored for a second for that reason. When you love the characters, yeah, the story can be mediocre and average, but it doesn't matter because the characters are so greatly written. Unlike that garbage we were getting the last 3, 4, 5 years. Where the characters were uninteresting. No, I'm glad it's on your list. It isn't on mine, spoiler alert, but like it was one of the top superhero movies of the year. It was the top superhero movie of the year, so
yeah.
No, I'm glad it's there, Eric. I'm glad we got to talk about it. And we'll hopefully a sign of like trending upwards for MCU.
Hope so, yeah.
So, okay, my number 6 is our first repeat. My number 6 is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Nice.
I love this movie. I thought it was so gothic and a classic tale told in like chapters, wrapped up beautifully. I liked Victor's story and I liked the monster story. Like some people liked one more than the other. I liked everything. Like I wasn't bored for a second. I love the ship at the beginning, with Lars Mikkelsen. That was cool. Everything about this movie looked brilliant. The science of it, the little sci-fi element with like bringing a corpse back to life. No, I love the story of Frankenstein, and I thought this was just a longer version of it. Like I like the fact that he talks because that's what it's like in the book, unlike the black and white version. I like the interactions. It's a very humanistic movie and teaches you a lot. So, yeah, Frankenstein's my number 6.
Love it. Yeah, no, I liked. I was kind of waiting for a "it's alive" moment. Honestly, that might have been cringe. So I'm kind of glad. Maybe glad they didn't go that route. But no, a lot of great one-on-one interactions to the father and son parallels across the board. Right, with Frankenstein and his dad, who Charles Dance. Like this guy just needs to do more movies, right? Like, but every time he pops up, he plays that stern, impossible to please father so well, and he was fantastic. And his limited screen time in this movie, I hated him again. Just a absolute scumbag to his son. I felt so bad, and yeah, you kind of get that understanding of this is where he got it from, and history repeats itself. It's just generational trauma, right? So yeah, no, great movie. Yeah, I mean, we've all, both have it in the top 10, so we're going back-to-back here, though, with repeats. So for my number 6, I was going to try to lie and say I had Ugly Stepsister in here, but I'm not going to do that. I have Predator Killer of Killers, number 6. I love this movie,
Excellent.
Matt. Like, this was, for the longest time, this was a top 5 movie for my year, honestly. I was a massive fan. Like I said, I don't have too much else to add, really, but this is one I would go back to, honestly. I think I'm going to rewatch this at some point, just because, again, so short, so fun. And I'll just highlight, I guess, what my favorite plot was. So you've got a Norse plot at the start with like Vikings of old age. Then you got a samurai plot in the middle, and then you've got a kind of some point early 1900s World War One or two fighter bomber plot where the guys like they're all flying in these planes. My favorite plot by far was the samurai one. I thought just the imagery of the predator with those classic Japanese dual shots of like the landscape widescreen shot of them squaring up with one another, and then even just the two brothers or long lost friends squaring up again. The one going the ninja route, the other the samurai. I love that, how they go about their lives after they have a falling out. It was just so epic and badass. Strong recommend if you want a nice action movie with some sci-fi beats. The Predator is just such a cool monster, and I really want to watch Predator Badlands. That's on my list. Didn't get to see that, unfortunately, but we were given 2 great Predator movies last year from what I heard, so definitely must check out this one for sure, and Badlands I'm just endorsing from what I've heard.
I didn't think this would be on your list. I didn't know about your reaction when I said that number 10, but I'm like, I thought you loved, like, I remember you loving this movie. I heard this one's like Badlands. I think we put the superior one. We watched the better one. But I did hear Badlands is actually pretty fun. But this one's like perfect. This one like doesn't waste a second of screen time. But yeah, we've already talked about it, guys. You got to check it out. Predator, Killer of Killers, has no business being that amazing. It's like on paper, you're like, what is this? You click on it, you'll not be disappointed. All right, top 5. Top 5 was I had to reshuffle some stuff around, like the other day, because this was hard to make my top 5. Not gonna lie. But at number 5, I have a surprising movie I never thought would make my list, but I decided to check it out. One of my favorite film directors, Richard Linklater. This is his movie Blue Moon, starring Ethan Hawke. Okay. It's a drama. This movie is all about our main character, Lawrence Hartz, played by Ethan Hawke. He's basically in the epilogue of his life. It's like his prime is gone. The golden age of his career as a musical lyricist and songwriter he's past his prime. He's just drinking now like crazy. He doesn't get as much work anymore. His partner, Richard Rogers, ditched him for another guy. So this whole movie takes place in a restaurant, him at the bar, on the opening night of the play Oklahoma that came out in the 40s or 30s, I believe. And it's his buddy who did the songs for this movie. So he's just waiting for his buddy to show up to the restaurant so he can congratulate him. But he's bitter the whole movie. There's a lot of like remorse and like, oh, I should have done my life differently because it's led me to this point. I'm a miserable old man who's just drinking. Actually, not even that old. But Ethan Hawke, Eric, is fantastic in this movie. And the dialogue is amazing. It's like basically a play. Like I said, this whole movie is one setting in the restaurant, and he's talking to different people, including Bobby Cannavale as the bartender, who's phenomenal. And you got Andrew Scott as his old partner, Richard Rogers. And then the new partner, Rogers basically is the duo of Rogers and Hammerstein, who did all the music for The Sound of Music, for the movie. They did Oklahoma, The Prince and I. They've done a ton of musicals. They're very famous, and this is kind of started this fruitful partnership. And this guy, Ethan Hawke, Lawrence Hartz, is very bitter and kind of regrets it. Like I said, he's kind of in the epilogue of his life where he's super sad. And I was going to say the movie opens up with him having a heart attack, and then it flashes back to this movie in the restaurant. So it's this movie evokes a feeling of sadness and regret, and like, maybe you should just do it instead of regretting it later on, like this character's doing the whole movie. This movie also stars Margaret Qualley, who's great in it as a young actress in the movie. But yeah, Blue Moon, great dialogue, great performances, and left a smile on my face at the end. It was just so beautifully made. So Blue Moon by Richard Linklater, who's one of my favorite directors.
Awesome. So no, he's cited as one of the best performances of the year in Ethan Hawke. Does this fully take place in the bar, or are we getting some flashback scenes, or is it really just all taking place in that one setting?
All in the one setting.
Okay. So definitely has that full-on play vibe there, where different
sure.
characters. It's conversation driven, right? Like this, you're not tuning in here for the Mission Impossible action set pieces. It's all dialogue. So, all right, impressive stuff. I'm sure he gets to convey a lot of emotion, and yeah, I mean, this movie would fail if Ethan Hawke wasn't as good as he is, right? So it wouldn't be in your top 5 otherwise. So, all right, I'll definitely have to check this one out. This is one also I missed. Spoiler alert, not in the top 5, but I feel like it. I'm going to kind of compare this list at this point where we're at to my 2023 list, if you recall that pod. There's a few of these movies, prestige movies, if you will, that I have not seen, and I feel like there may be 1 or 2 more on your list that I have not gotten to see, but we'll see. So I'm on the opposite end where, talk about spending one scene here. If we were in one scene for this 3-hour and then some movie, it'd be a long one, Matt. So I'm talking Avatar, Fire and Ash at the number 5 spot for me. And that's simply because, you know what, I love the Avatar franchise. I'm just going to say it. I've heard the complaints, the similarities to number 1, and especially to number 2. A lot of people say this is almost copy paste to number 2. To be honest, I could not care less. I had a great time watching this movie in 3D, which is not a format that I normally seek out, but this one is one you simply had to see in that 3D goggles lens on the biggest screen possible, because there simply are no other movies doing it like James Cameron is with the Avatar franchise. And what this one did, which pushed him to a really interesting direction, is it made what I had thought in a kind of repetitive and annoying villain in Miles Quaritch, finally made him a layered, interesting, and funny villain, in my opinion. I feel like there's a path forward where they've laid it out where if they keep making these movies, he's gonna flip and become a Na'vi in the end, right? Like that's what I'm seeing for this character. I kind of wish, spoiler alert now, that this had happened in this movie, honestly, because now it's going to be another movie of him kind of having those similar conversations with Sully. Maybe it's going to take the death of Spider or something big to happen to make him flip fully, and maybe at that point it'll be more earned. But I would have liked to see it happen here, honestly, not just him jump off the leaf at that point, the tree, the vine, whatever. But that mild nitpick aside, I thought he was great in this movie. It was my favorite performance of his. And then we also introduced a formidable villain in Una Chaplin's, I forgot her name, but the Fire Lady. She was great, the Ash Witch. She was great. Amazing, hateable character here, who's dominatrix, manipulator. It has a aura about her that her followers just blindly will do whatever she asks and says, and has magical powers, right? She has her fire bending and wielding abilities. So really cool there. And again, the action scenes just fired me up. For me, 3 hours and 20 minutes did not feel that long, honestly. And there's just something about seeing these blue people when they get hurt. It affects me more than seeing a human die in a movie for some reason. I just feel more watching these characters go through what they're going through. And this movie also made Spider into, in my opinion, a very likable character. I couldn't stand him in The Way of Water. Found him to be extremely annoying, just this little rat following our true Na'vi around. But he finally did become a useful character who's also going to be a big plot device going forward, in that he's now embedded into the ecosystem and is a hybrid human Na'vi who we know, unfortunately, he'll probably get into the hands of the humans and make them be able to breathe the air. So, all in all, I like what they laid down with this movie. I think it did move the plot forward, despite having a few repetitive beats to the predecessor. Super fun movie. Love seeing the world and the colors and everything come to life from James Cameron. I want to see 2 more of these, no doubt.
Yeah, Eric, I couldn't agree more. I had a blast watching this in the theater. super tight pacing compared to the last one. I think this one flew by a lot. Like it went by fast. I was more engaged in this one than the Way of Water. The highlight, like, okay, any action scene we know is phenomenal in an Avatar movie. The CGI is unreal, but just shots of the characters and like just seeing like water on their face and how amazing it looks. It looks like the real thing. Like, and
Big
these
time.
Navi look real, and that's the appeal for me going to the theater to watch this. Is it looks so lifelike. Pandora is real. Every creature, every little thing that happens. Yeah, sure, the story is maybe sometimes predictable and you know where it's heading, but it doesn't matter because it's entertaining. It's an amazing action, right?
Yeah.
It's action tropes that we know, but who cares because it's done so well. I care about the Sully family, and no, it was. I had a blast watching this, Eric. I could have watched. I want number 4 next year, like this year. I'm ready for it. This was a big step up from the second one, so yeah, awesome that it's on your list.
Nice.
Okay, number 4. This movie was highly anticipated for me since it's one of my favorite directors who directed it, Paul Thomas Anderson. So at number 4, I have One Battle After Another, starring Leo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, Teyana Taylor. So many good actors in the movie too. Anyways, I don't even know if I want to describe this movie, the story. It's all over the place. Or it starts off simple in my mind and then like goes batshit crazy, and I don't even know what's going on half the time. I don't know if I can't recall if you rewatch this one, Eric, but I've only seen it once, and I think a second watch it would help clarify some things for me. But this movie was a tour de force, like from Leo, the director. It was super cinematically well shot. Like just watching all the framing and the shots in the movie blew my mind, and it was beautiful to watch. The performances were at times hilarious, horrifying. It was thrilling, and this movie has everything in it. I don't even know what genre you'd put this movie in, but I know that even though I wasn't understanding everything, I was loving it still. And there's a lot of like stuff like going underneath, like this underlying themes in the movie that it probably flew over my head, but on rewatch, you know, like the club of the villains and like weird stuff going on with the bad guys, basically. One Battle After Another. I need to rewatch it ASAP, but I know I loved it, and anchored by Leo's performance, which I thought was funny and just amazing. So yeah, at number 4, One Battle After Another.
Yeah, really good movie, honestly, that it rips by. Like it is a tough one to describe and even recommend to people just because the plot is crazy. And to say what happens in the movie, you're almost giving stuff away that you should just kind of go out on a long, windy road up and down and just enjoy for your own sake, right? Take it for what it is. Going blind. Like I went into this completely blind and I loved it as well. Great movie. Great performances. There's again, Leo, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, newcomer Chase Infinity too. I think this is her first movie for sure, possibly first acting role. She plays Leo's daughter. Fantastic in this, and all the supporting characters who a lot of them have like this familiar look to them, like that guy or something. But they're these minor random actors who all turn in great performances for the small amount of time that they're in the movie. So hilarious movie also. Definitely, yeah, it's a must-see from 2025 for sure. So number 4 for me is one I'm not sure if you have one more of these on your list, and I'm talking about horror movies here, but this is my favorite horror movie of the year, no doubt. This would be from the director who gave us the movie Barbarian in 2022, which was a fantastic movie. This is follow-up called Weapons. So this is a fantastic movie in which the premise is that these kids in grade like 3, these 9 to 11-year-old kids all disappear at the same time during the night from this class, except for one kid. Every single kid from that class, except for one, all disappear at the same time. The families have their ring camera footage that kind of sees them just run in this strange straight line towards a destination, And speaking of similar to Frankenstein, where we have a same story kind of told from different points of view, covering the same events, I should say, but a different story and way that it occurs. You get this story told from the point of view of Josh Brolin's character. You got Julia Gardner's character, and you got Alden Ehrenreich, who plays a Han Solo in the Solo movie in there, and Benedict Wong. It's all from their points of view, and you find out piecemeal more information along the ride. And this is a crazy ride as well in terms of where it goes, what the twist is. I've said it in my review of Sinners and a few other movies recently, actually. This movie could have been something similar to a Prisoners that does not have a supernatural element to it or a horror element to it. It's just a full-on thriller. This movie does take a turn, and a lot of horror movies do this, right? They start off with this different premise, you're not sure where it's going, and then it's like a sharp, like, oh yeah, there's a witch element in this or whatever. It's a vampire movie, whatever. The twist in this one was super unique, and I quite enjoyed it, and it was pretty scary as well, quite freaky. Not to give anything away, but yeah, Weapons. I love this movie. I'd rewatch it, honestly. And Zach Kreger, who directed this, is someone who, whatever he puts out going forward, must watch in my books. So yeah, Weapons. Great movie. Even if you're not a fan of horror movies, I would recommend it, despite a few kind of spooky scenes. It's really good stuff. Josh Brolin, the guy's one of my favorite actors now. No doubt. In the last almost 10 years, he's become one of my favorite actors, and he crushed it in this. So, yeah, great movie.
Yeah, Weapons is a very good movie. Honestly, I owe myself to rewatch it because when I watched it, I think I crossed my arms and said, oh, impress me because of all the great reviews. And I thought it was a little overrated when I watched it at the time. I don't know why, Eric. I think I hyper fixated on a lot of plot holes, which I shouldn't do because that's me being a hypocrite because I can do that with all the other movies on my list. But there was just some stuff that I was hung up on, and I didn't fully enjoy it as much as I wanted to. But I still really liked it. I love the Pulp Fiction-esque narrative with the telling of the different angles of the stories. I love it's like a modern day, like, Pied Piper tale where someone is luring the kids away, and had that kind of element near the end with Amy Madigan's character, which she was great, fantastic in this movie. It's nominated for an Oscar. What else? There's so much to say on this movie. I've listened to so many podcasts discuss Weapons that, like, I think I have a newfound appreciation for it. The scene in the car where Julia Gardner falls asleep and Victor just, like, stands above her with scissors and the hair, and, like, you don't know what the hell is going on, and spooky as hell. And that abandoned house. Josh Brolin, like, investigating, like, using, like, the map. That was all cool. Alden Reich was excellent as the cop. Like I said, I owe this a rewatch because I think I'll like it a lot more. Very similar to Barbarian too, with the way the narrative is told. But no, I'm glad it's on your list. Like, I wanted to talk about it, why it wasn't on my list. Like, it really should be, but I was hung up on a lot of things on this movie, and I'm not going to get into them on this podcast. But yeah, good pick, Eric. Okay, number 3 for me is a Korean movie directed by Park Chan-wook, and it's No Other Choice. This movie floored me, Eric. It's our main character, played by Lee Byung-hun, who's the main actor in I Saw the Devil, and he's also in Squid Games as the man with the black mask. He is a guy that's worked 20 to 30 years at this paper company, gets fired, and, like, doesn't know what to do. Like, comes home, he's got a big house, 2 kids, like, he was basically fucked over, like, by his employer, and he doesn't know what to do. He's trying to look for a job. It's not going well. And then he starts resorting to other means to, you know, get back into the paper factory, the paper industry game, and go back to what he knows how to do best, which is run a paper mill. But, and those ways of do whatever necessary to maintain your lifestyle, you know, because, you know, he's getting his mortgage, bills are due, and everything's, you know, money's tight. It goes batshit crazy. This movie flips a switch and goes up to 11 instantly. Holy shit, he's going to do all this to whatever means necessary, basically. Another good performance is his wife in the movie. She's great. Like, she's kind of like the moral compass of the movie, the audience, and you're like, okay, you like trying to keep our main character from going completely off the rail. I definitely had some like American Psycho vibes from our main character. Sometimes Patrick Bateman, like he's just like he does these things and he's so outrageous. I'm like, is he doing this for real? Like it's crazy. But No Other Choice, very solid, dark drama comedy. Like it's funny too, Eric. There's some really funny stuff, but it's dark comedy, like I said. So No Other Choice by the master of Korean cinema, Park Chan-wook, floored me, and superbly shot too, as are all his movies. So that's my number 3.
Again, that's what I was gonna say. That I've heard that there are a lot of great, unique camera angles and the way that shots are composed in this movie. People have said that like, we've never seen anything like this, like how this movie looks at certain points. So that's a big drawing point there as well. If you can make something maybe plot wise you might have seen before, a trope, but if presented differently, then it has its own uniqueness that can only be accomplished by this director, who I know is like you said, is a legend of the game. So I haven't seen it, unfortunately. It was one I wanted to get to, didn't get to, but it'll be seen at some point. So it just lets us talk about different movies on here without the overlaps. Now, I don't know, Matt, you said we'd have 2 in the top 4 in the same spot, so I think that might happen, but we'll see. So before I get into my top 3, I'll say one thing that unites the 3 of them here that they have in common is they all have an incredible soundtrack / score. So I'm not going to repeat myself for all these movies. It applies to all of them. These are soundtracks that I listen to all the time now, working, just background, the instrumentals, unbelievable. Probably the weakest one of the 3 is coming up in my number 3 spot, but that's not to say that this movie is not amazing, and I absolutely loved it. It's one that I can't wait to rewatch. Number 3 for me is the one that it looks like they're finally going to give my boy his Oscar for, so Marty Supreme is number 3 for me. I absolutely love this movie. Again, that's one that you're going into with a lot of hype, in that people are saying best Timothy performance yet. I don't know if it is. It's not my favorite of his, but I thought he was amazing in it, of course, and would be a very well-deserved Oscar win, in my opinion. It's just a crazy ride, insane journey in which you're following this ping pong prodigy trying to move up through the ranks and become the greatest in the world, and his ego is something that makes him honestly a very unlikable character. You don't want to root for him at all times throughout the movie because he's constantly lying, scamming his way to get what he wants, and will discard whoever is in his life, whatever they're going through in his life. As long as they can serve a purpose for him, he will use them to get what he wants, and that's what makes him dislikable. But at the same time, you kind of can't help yourself but root for him and want to see him become this great world champ. But it's conflicting. It's definitely not a black and white, I'm always rooting for him despite him doing all these things. Like, there are points in the movie, even late in the movie, where I'm like, you know what, I don't want him to win right now. I'm not rooting for him. And as it's a Safdie brother, Josh Safdie movie, so you know it gets outrageous in here. And that might be a weakness of the movie, in that there's maybe too much that happens in here. I will say it's one battle after another that this guy's going through, really, where it's just non-stop. There's no chill in this movie whatsoever. So it's a certain kind of movie I do not think is for everybody, but if you like the Safdie brothers movies, you'll definitely enjoy this, I think. And for me, to say that there's a lot of similarity between this, Good Time, and Uncut Gems does not take any enjoyment away from this movie for me, because there's still a lot of differences between those movies in this one, and Timo is really that good. I also think that Gwyneth Paltrow is amazing in here. Odessa Azion is amazing. Kevin O'Leary, just a force of an actor in this movie, in that, yeah, he plays a character quite similar to his persona we've seen on Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, wherever, but he's great in this. And another one, Tyler, the Creator, amazing in this as well. So every minor character in this movie I found crushed it, and a lot of likable and dislikable characters, like I said, but definitely one to check out. I don't think you've gotten the chance to, Matt, But you should get out there and watch this whenever it's on streaming. I'm definitely gonna rewatch this at some point with subtitles, but because it's fast paced, like it's so easy to miss dialogue in this one. Everyone's rambling mile a second, like I've been going here. But yeah, Marty Supreme number 3 for me.
No, I'm glad you talked about it lots because I'm not going to be able to. It's my biggest regret of the year, my biggest miss. I did not get a chance to watch this. Really looking forward to it, Eric. I'm hopefully like Good Time and Uncut Gems, like similar vibes, but I don't really know much about the story, which is good. Saying it's one of Timo's best performances. Like the man's had like 10 good performances already, and he's not even 30. Man's going to be a legend. Like he's the new Leo or the new insert name of a legend, you know. Year after, you like Bob Dylan last year, and he was great. Like Dune. There's a Dune coming out this year. Like the man's, anyways, can't wait to watch this, Eric. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say because I haven't seen it, and we'll report on the pod when I watch it and where I would place on my list, maybe. All right, my number 2. This movie, a coworker recommended me. And I did not even know what it was. I just I threw it on because I respect his opinion. This movie is definitely the saddest movie of the year, but that put a smile on my face at the end. This movie is a Netflix movie, actually. This is Netflix's Train Dreams, starring Joel Edgerton. This movie kind of floored me. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's an art house movie, but paced beautifully. Very well edited, and the soundtrack's phenomenal. Talk about good soundtrack. Train Dreams is excellent. Again, with like Blue Moon, this movie is about this man's his epilogue. More like he's already gone through most of the stuff in his life, and he's reflecting back. This man was a lumberjack, kind of like exactly like our grandfather, actually. In the 20s and the 30s, and life's going by fast around him, and he's just there chopping wood, and he's got his family, and he's got to go to work away. He works months at a time away and comes back. But this movie's narrative isn't always linear. It goes to the end, back to the beginning, to the middle, and it's about him just interacting in life, and at the end, life catching up to him and technology, and he's like, by that time he's far gone. Like he can't keep up anymore. And he's a very simple man, but there's a lot of qualities that he has that are in all of us. And he just yearns to be in nature and do his thing and be productive and useful. And you see a lot of interactions with him working with the old timers, and then him being one of the old timers. And again, there's not really a straight linear narrative. You go back and forth, which kind of gives the artsy element of the movie with the soundtrack. You're bouncing back and forth. But this movie's under 2 hours. Like, it goes by fast. Like I said, it's sad, but not in a bad way. More sad like you've seen a great piece of art, of cinema, and you're happy you watched it, and it's made you feel good in the end. Joel Edgerton does most of his acting without speaking, with his facial expressions. Felicity Jones as his wife is excellent. There's William H. Macy in there as an old lumberjack too, who's great. But again, this is more about things unsaid than said in this movie. It's what you take from the characters' interactions as opposed to the dialogue. Because guess what? There's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. Another reason why it's kind of an art house film. But Train Dreams is a movie everyone should go check out on Netflix. It's beautifully made, guys. Beautifully shot. Great soundtrack. Great performances. So my number 2 is Train Dreams.
Nice. Did not see this coming, honestly. Funnily enough, on the graphic, when you're teeing up your movie, I literally was typing up sentimental value. I literally dropped it under your face with that as a number 2 movie, but I had to just quickly remove it and put Train Dreams in. But nice. So yeah, I did see Train Dreams. I think, honestly, it did a disservice in how I went about watching it, is that I wasn't fully focusing while watching it. So I think that's where I didn't get that full same enjoyment, because I am in the minority here of not being as crazy about it. But I do like everything that it put forward, in that it's all subtle. It's kind of like, if you will, an After Sun, in a sense, where it's not all spoon-fed to you. You kind of have to read between the lines. But also it is kind of, you get the messaging in there, where life is going by quickly. he's trying his best to keep up with the times and how things are changing, technology being introduced. He's we got these new young lumberjacks, and I move over, pops, I'll come over here with my machine to saw this log rather than using your wooden axe here. So there is some explicit imagery that's explained to us as well. And very, very beautiful movie to look at in terms of in nature, the shots. It looks gorgeous. I don't know where this was shot, but definitely the kind of movie that makes you want to go out for a 5-hour hike and just be with your thoughts, And a lot of sad stuff that happens in here. Just gutted at the biggest one, of course, but and then I did like when the Carrie Condon character was introduced to, just to kind of talk about how life changes, you got to adapt, and you kind of do the best with what you've got, and there are opportunities for more life and love after some sadness that's happened in your life. So Joel Edgerton, amazing performance. I don't know if he got nominated or not for Best Actor, but definitely merited some props for this one for sure. So top 2 time for me now. It's not looking like we're gonna have this, unless you're throwing a curveball at me here, but we're not gonna have the same number 1 this year, because my number 2 is potentially what your number 1 is, but that would be, if you don't know, would be Sinners for me. Sorry, Sinners is my number 2 movie. So I thought this was an amazing movie. I've seen it twice now. Ryan Coogler directed, Michael B. Jordan in it as the Smokestack Twins. Awesome movie. This is, again, what I said earlier, that starts off as a kind of dramatic movie of these 2 brothers who want to open up a juke joint. Good night out for everybody to come party, vibe out to some blues music, and then it takes a turn with the vampire introduction, played by my guy Jack O'Connell. And then the night goes, it all takes place in one night, basically in this confined setting, and revolves around music, right? So the blues, the Irish folk music, everything in here just is a vibe. The originality in there, the culture that's in there too, really, really good stuff. And like I said earlier, the score is amazing. But for me, it's that the characters make you really dial in and want no one to really get hurt in this juke joint, and everyone to make it out alive. And formidable villain. Everyone has their own backstory, their trauma too. And it's impressive how Michael B. Jordan plays these 2 twins that have their own uniqueness, but they're also not just polar opposites of one another. Like, they're quite similar despite small but important differences. One is more like charismatic, outgoing, will try to be charming to disarm people and be the man, and the other one's more introverted, calculated, is the brains behind the operation. I love how he kind of portrays those 2 characters differently while still having that twin brotherly connection that makes sense that they would have, so that's another strength of the movie. But Sinners, amazing movie, holds up on second viewing, had a claim at number 1 for me, and it was right there. I think this was, when I talked earlier in the episode about Dune Part 2, Oppenheimer, I think Sinners is the movie of the year, but there's one I liked more personally. So that's my number 2.
I thought we were going to be twinsies at number 1, Eric, because of course my number 1 is Sinners. I had to have Sinners as my number 1, guys. It combines my 2 favorite genres, like great dramas and horror movies, and melds them together, first half, second half type deal. Michael B. Jordan I'm so glad he got nominated. He's fantastic in this movie. If I haven't seen Marty Supreme, but I don't know. I think the Academy might give it to Michael this year. There's I haven't seen Marty Supreme, so I can't say. But anyway, Sinners. Just the first half being introduced to the smoke and stack, and them coming back, and kind of the fear of the town of these guys are from Chicago. What have they done? They're kind of respected. That whole angle was amazing. Getting introduced to Delroy Lindo's character. and kind of like him sharing his trauma later in the movie with his friend and what happened to him. That was fantastic. Setting up the juke joint, getting everything prepared. Then when we get to the fateful evening of music and the power of music, and the scene where they show the different eras of music is one of possibly my favorite scene of the year, like the best shot scene of the year in my opinion. It was so unique. Like in the theater, I was like, this has never been done before. And I've watched a lot of movies, and I hadn't seen a scene that powerful in a long time. Miles Caden, who played the guitar player, the preacher boy, he was phenomenal in the movie. Oh my god! Like I like how it starts off with the end showing him and what happened earlier that day. Him in the car singing and seeing Smoke and Stack's reaction was amazing. Then you get to the horror, which is my favorite genre of movies, like with the vampires and Jack O'Connell. That was awesome. Maybe a bit formulaic and predictable once you get to the vampires, but it doesn't matter because at that time I'm so invested in the characters. I loved every minute of it. I don't know what else to say, Eric. I could talk a lot about Sinners. The look of the movie, the costumes, the dialogue, Michael B. Jordan. I loved everything about this movie. It had to be my number one. Can't wait to rewatch this movie. I was hoping we'd both have it at number one, like I said, but 1 and 2 and 1 is still fantastic. I'm going to stop talking about Sinners. Amazing movie, guys. I got nominated for 16 Oscars, which is the record. That's insane. I don't know if it's 16 Oscars good, but like, it's freaking amazing. So yeah, Sinners is my number one. No surprise.
I hope they get a decent amount of wins, right? Like I think they're a lock for best score. They're gonna win there. Maybe Delroy Lindo. I think he's nominated in here, right? It's for supporting. So we'll see. I hope they're able to sneak in a few wins because that 16 scares me, where it could easily turn out to be like it's nominated for 16, one kind of thing, you know. So we're looking at a Emilia Perez situation out here, but different situation completely there. But Sinners. I rewatched it just to see if it was going to be my number one because it was for the majority of the year, honestly. And then I watched. Your number 4, my number 1, One Battle After Another for me.
Okay.
So that was my favorite movie of the year. I've seen it twice, like you alluded to earlier, and I enjoyed it more the second time with those subtitles on as well. And it, even knowing where it's going, the ride is just nuts. And I'm as frantic and paranoid as Leo is throughout the whole time. The humor still hit the same, honestly, if not more. I thought I was just laughing just as much. Sean Penn is a menace to society as Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw. The Christmas Adventurers, dirtbags. Like, there's a lot of lore there too that they kind of left unexplored. Right? They kind of just introduced this group of shadow entity villains pulling the strings behind a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're up to some nasty antics. Really behind the scenes. They're the real villains of this movie, and they hardly get dealt with in this one, right? We're really focused on Lockjaw this whole movie. It's him versus DiCaprio for the kind of love and adoration of Tiana Taylor in there as well. But just the epic scale of this movie is one thing I really found impressive, where we're starting off with these French revolutionaries who are bombing these sites, who are oppressing certain people in America, and they're being these revolutionaries causing anarchy and chaos. And then they get kind of snitched on by one of their members, and they all have to disband and hide, basically. And then they kind of get picked off one by one, and Leo is one of the last ones remaining. 16 years later, now he has a 16-year-old daughter. He is still on the hunt from Stephen A. Lockjaw, and they have a confrontation later in the movie. So there's a lot of anticipation, panic, not knowing who you can trust. Benicio del Toro too, I really liked his character. He was hilarious on second viewing too. Yeah, it's just a fun, unique ride, and that's something I could say about the top 2 for me, Sinners and One Battle. So unique, and just a sign that there are a lot of still original movies being made, and Amazing 1A, 1B in my books. So yeah, and again, like I said, I wouldn't say it, but I will. Amazing score in this movie too. It's really chill, great to work to.
Yeah, I had a strong feeling these are both our number ones would be in our top four. Those were the two movies I was alluding to. I'm glad they were both there. This movie is so cinematic. That's all I'm gonna repeat myself, but so cinematic. And I think if I rewatch it, it would go up even higher, like it did for you, Eric. So, yeah, excellent number one pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so 2025, despite me saying that, yeah, it's not the strongest of years, still had a lot of great original movies at the top and a lot of stuff that I think will age well and are movies that will want to go back to. Like, again, Sinners is one I feel like I could rewatch again. Like, I might not be done watching that movie. Same with One Battle, honestly. So I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. Would recommend any of these movies if you haven't seen them. I think there's a general appeal for pretty much everybody somewhere in there in any of these movies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Your list, too, Eric, had a lot of, like, a well-rounded list of the representation of what we got this year. Action, like, dark dramas, like, comedy, horror. Like, you have a bit of everything on there, and it's a very good representation of the year, and it was a solid year. Yeah, and I can't wait to check out Marty Supreme. Like, I desperately want to watch the movie, so can't wait for that.
Yeah, no other choice. Blue Moon for me, for sure. I gotta check out potentially Die My Love. Horror ones, I'm not sure, but but no, it was good stuff.
Any listeners submitted what their favorite movie was, Eric?
Thanks, Matt. So, listener submissions for their favorite movies of 2025 were from the homie Mike Martins. He said, gotta shout out the end of an era from an amazing franchise, Mission Impossible. So, this was a fun movie in the theater. I think after Fallout, it kind of went a bit downhill. Like Dead Reckoning Part 1, I think I liked it more in the theater, and then I rewatched it again, didn't like it as much. This one, Final Reckoning, since I've only seen it once, I'm excited to rewatch because it had a lot of epic moments. Like the submarine sequence was probably the coolest scene in that movie. Despite the fact that you know Tom Cruise is going to make it out, there was still some suspense there and holding your breath as he was and hoping that he makes it out. So no, it was a fun movie in the theater for sure. Gonna be missed this franchise.
Yeah, actually, I still gotta check it out. But Rogue Nation, Fallout, are peak.
Oh yeah,
like 5 and 6 are the peak. Like unquestionably.
Agreed. So the homie Brandon, aka Hip Hop Fiend 85, he submitted a few movies. So Sinners, One Battle After Another, Weapons, Highest to Lowest, so a reimagining of High to Low. Spike Lee made his own, starring Denzel Washington, and Bugonia as well, which I thought was going to be on your list. I've not seen it.
I consider Bugonia. It was a great movie, but not as good as Yorgos Lanthimos' other films. So it's a polarizing movie.
Gotcha.
There's some stuff to discuss in there. Yeah.
Well, there's another Bugonia pick. It was from the homie Suavi779. He submitted that as well. So another Bugonia head. And we got another one from the homie Jeff Lavoie. He submitted Lord of the Rings Extended Edition 25th Anniversary was his pick for 2025. It'll actually be this year, so I don't think that would work at all. But any excuse to get some Lord of the Rings talk in there will take. And then...
Oh, no. Yeah. I was just going to say, at the theater, it was phenomenal. When I mentioned I was going to go to the theater, it was one of the best theater experiences ever.
Love that. Yeah. Pelennor Fields just hits like crack, I can only imagine.
Tears in my face, yeah.
Nice. So that was it for 2025 picks. Now moving on to 2026 and what we're looking forward to. So had put a poll up in terms of asking the listeners what they're most looking forward to for this year. The options I'd given out were, I'll just read it out here. So I'd put, which movie are you most anticipating for 2026. Dune Part 3, The Odyssey, Avengers Doomsday, and then other. So the split was Dune Part 3 9%, The Odyssey 36%, Doomsday 36%, and then other 18%. So no love for Dune on here other than the 9%ers, but yeah, Odyssey and Doomsday leading the way for the people.
That makes sense. Christopher Nolan, right? And the Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even knock the first two Dunes out of the park. So this one could be even more epic than the second one, which would be ridiculously good, right? So I'm going to go Dune Part 3. Like, that's going to be... Odyssey, I'm optimistically, like... I'm hoping it's going to be great, but the Odyssey has potential to be like a Dunkirk where I'm, like, a little disappointed, you know? So... Yeah, what's your take on that, Eric?
Yeah, so Dune 3 is my number 1 of the movie. Odyssey is number 2. But I kind of agree with you. And am I a fool for saying this again where I was saying this about Oppenheimer and that did not disappoint? So do you want to bet against Nolan at this point? I don't know. But it's true. I feel like there's way more hype and pressure for the Odyssey than there is for Dune. Everyone's excited for Dune, I feel like. But Odyssey is like getting this godly... reverence ahead of its release, right? Where that's way more pressure to live up to. But I do believe in Christopher Nolan, so I think it'll be good at the very least. I hope it's amazing. Like I'm hoping for a 5-star on this one. We'll see. We did get another. So in the other, one person responded. So Klasin, she responded with the Hunger Games. So Sundown on the Reaping and Devil Wears Prada 2. Those are her picks. So definitely the Hunger Games one I'm excited for. Devil Wears Prada, not so much, but who knows? But yeah, Hunger Games.
That was one I wrote. That was one I wrote down too, Eric. Hunger Games,
Devil
Sunrise on the Reaping. Yeah,
okay, nice.
I haven't read the book, but we know Haymitch wins. But like spoiler alert, but. No, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, same. You know, a lot of great movies. I could list off a few right now that I'm really excited for. So, Odyssey, Doomsday, Dune, and then I'm excited for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Honestly, I really enjoyed the last one, so hopefully that one can deliver there too. Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm pumped for.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Brand New Day, Sunrise on the Reaping, Werewolf. From Robert Eggers, I'm excited for.
Yeah.
The Drama, starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. I think I said this on the pod, that episode that we did our come up with your hypothetical or dream cast movie, cast your own movie. This is literally the plot of this movie, starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. So I swear this guy who directed this is an Easy Conversations listener, but don't need to get into that again. And the last one I guess I'll say I'm excited for is Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. I've heard that's pretty solid, so I'm excited for a nice space movie. One a year, we're always due for those, so yeah.
Yeah, you wrote a lot of the ones I wrote down you mentioned, but I'll say the ones you haven't. Disclosure Day, the Spielberg movie. I think that could be low-key really good. The trailer doesn't reveal much, which I like, but I love Emily Blunt, so... That'll be good. What else did I write down? Project Hell. You talked about that. Oh, another horror one other than Werewolf, which I'm super excited for. Ready or Not 2. Huge fan of the first one. The sequel could be better.
Yeah.
Even better. There's a movie called The Bride coming out. It's Bride of Frankenstein reimagined in the 20s, 30s with Christian Bale as the monster. Like, that could be amazing. Christian Bale, you could be getting an Oscar-worthy performance by him, you never know. But The Bride I'm excited for. That could be low-key interesting. Or total shit, but I think it's going to be interesting. And they're also making an animated Avatar The Last Airbender movie that I'm really excited for. I'm a big fan of the show. They're making a movie, The Legend of Aang, it's called, so I can't wait for that. Yeah, you've already said everything else on my list, but... yeah. Should I be reading the Hunger Games book before the movie, Eric? Yes or no?
I would. I mean, unless you want to go in blind, not knowing, other than the outcome, if you want to be surprised at the journey, I feel like that's kind of, whenever it comes to these, read the book or watch the movie or show, whatever, it's like, do you care about being spoiled or do you want to go in fresh? I really enjoyed the book.
Got it.
It was one of my favorite Hunger Games books. So if you want that experience, I would say read the book. But if you want to just be surprised in the theater, then don't. Like, that's kind of my take on it. But it's a great book.
Okay.
It's a preference thing.
I think I'm gonna read it.
I feel like there's going to be more movies that are going to pop up too. Already off to a really strong year. Like, I've seen 4 movies this year of 2026, and I've enjoyed them all to varying degrees. So if this is what we're getting at this point in the year, we're in great hands for 2026. It's going to be a great year for movies.
Yeah, normally it's dump month January, but we've gotten like The Bone Temple and Send Help and like.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the 2 on my list, the immediate ones on my list that you've seen that I want to watch, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm back in on the 28 Years Later franchise. Bone Temple, great movie. Just quick recommend here. I saw it a few weeks ago. Great movie. I did not like 28 Years Later more than that. I thought it was honestly a quite boring movie. Did not care about the characters, what happened at the end. I was unmoved. I feel like I've seen some people say they had big reactions at the end. It did not do anything for me. Whereas this one, I was dialed in the entire time, not wanting anything to happen to our characters. And it's off the strength of Jack O'Connell, Ralph Fiennes. It's those 2 characters leading the charge, and opposite ends of insanity, honestly, you could easily argue. And following their perspectives and how they're navigating this now world ravaged by zombies. Honestly, it's not even a zombie movie. There's very little zombie action in this movie.
Okay.
It's all about the characters and how they're navigating through this world with their different ideologies. And as is the case in most of these zombie movies, like the humans are the monsters. They're the Frankensteins, right? So it's a really good movie. Definitely recommend 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. If you were like me, you were kind of hooked out with 28 Years Later, I think this was a great... This is my number 2 in that franchise for sure. And it made me want to rewatch 28 Days Later because I'm kind of thinking, like, is this better than 28 Days Later? But again, that might just be recency bias, who knows? But I really enjoyed it.
Everyone on the horror podcasts that I listen to has been saying what you just said, Eric, on the Bone Temple, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to check it out. Yeah, I've been slow on movies. I can't really recommend any movies. I've been slow, but I've been watching a lot of TV. There's been good TV so far. If it's not A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's Shrinking Season 3 that just started. It started that. There's The Pit Season 2. So I'm kind of like following those 3 shows at the same time. Yeah. But the one that's has no business being this good is on Disney Plus, Wonder Man. I'm loving it. Ben Kingsley and forget the actor's name.
Yeah,
the Black Manta from the Aquaman movies, but he's fantastic. So Wonder Man, I'm almost finished. I'm on the last couple episodes. That's my recommend for the show. It's surprisingly really good. I don't know, like, it's about an actor and it's all about Hollywood and like there's some superpowers in there and it has no business being this good, Eric. Wonder Man. I don't know if you started it yet, but that's my recommend.
Yeah, I'm halfway through. I'm loving it. And I'll throw this in there with A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I love that they're shorter episodes. Just a nice 30-minute compact disc of entertainment in there. Not a second wasted. It's kind of I remember always wishing episodes were longer all the time, or like I want the hour-long episode. Now I'm kind of rethinking it where these 2 shows are proving that the shorter model does work. Where you have way less filler, everything's satisfactory and entertaining. So yeah, Wonder Man, great surprise. It's kind of like the WandaVision of these MCU Disney shows. Great recommend. I have to get on that and finish that show before I start forgetting what's happening in there because there's other shows dropping. But no, really, really good stuff. I'm enjoying all those shows you just listed. I'm watching them too. I'm going to go into the book realm. Matt, I've got a series for you that I feel like you'll enjoy. I'm on the 2nd book of this series in the Red Rising trilogy. So I'm talking Golden Sun here. Almost done. I'm just flying through these books. And of course, listeners know Matt has already recommended this and actually given me or lent me these books. So I'm on the 2nd one of the Red Rising trilogy. Really good stuff. So this is digestible sci-fi. Not as complex as the 3-body problem where you're like wondering what the hell's going on while you're reading it. This is like, I would compare this to a Game of Thrones meets Dune, which already share a few similarities, but this all takes place in space. And also, especially the first one, has a big Hunger Games vibe where at the academy they're kind of put in this scenario where they have to fend off other houses, and winning house gets a status in this at the institute, and that'll kind of set themselves up for jobs down the line. But no, it's really good stuff. A lot of good rebellion themes in here, sci-fi, great characters. And another thing I'm enjoying a lot about this is how no one's really safe, right? You got your main character, he's good, but everyone else, for the most part, is on the chopping block, and that's what makes it really fun for me, where I know at the end of every chapter something big's happening, and the chapters are short, so that means a lot of big things are happening. So definitely recommend the Red Rising trilogy, Matt. You did not lead me astray with this. I'll be done this book by a few days from now at most. So yeah, Golden Sun, really enjoying it. Looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Oh, I'm so happy you like it, Eric. The third book's even crazier. Like, the third book's my favorite, I think, out of the six that I've read. But yeah, it doesn't waste a moment, just right into the action. And I am still reading the Three-Body Problem, but you know what? I'm like 3/4 of the way. I'm kind of seeing where it's like I'm loving it more and more. The more chapters I read, I'm loving it more because I'm getting a clearer picture and kind of like thinking of what's going on, but still wondering a little bit still. But I'm definitely loving it more, Eric, than the first half of the book. Like, I'm over the hump of confusion. Now I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. And I can't wait to read the 2 and 3 because I have no idea where it's still heading, Eric, right? So, definitely a very unique trilogy. Well, Frank, this first book's super unique, first of all. So, yeah.
It's ambitious.
I got nothing else to recommend. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just say one last recommendation, a bit different. It's more of an experience that you could seek out if you've seen ads for this on Instagram. So my mom took us to this, what it's called a candle concert, basically, where there's a theme for this event where you have musicians who will play music from either an artist's discography. So like it could be the Beatles theme, Aretha Franklin, they do Queen, ABBA, Halloween theme. Andy went to see that before. And my mom took us to see a Hans Zimmer rendition of this experience where you go, it's held in this church on Elgin, and as the name indicates, there's a bunch of candles lit up in the church. And what we had were these violinists and cello players, and they would basically go through a lot of Hans Zimmer's filmography and play songs from them with the violin and cello, and it was unbelievable. Huge recommend, and seeing how impressive these performers were, and how, like, I listen to this stuff like when I work. Like, I listen to the Hans Zimmer score quite often, and it was like I was listening to the recording on in my AirPods kind of thing. It's so cool and fun to just hear a lot of these songs. Like when he did the Dune songs, like I knew them right away. And part of me wishes so that before they do every song, they would say, okay, now we're going to go over to the sci-fi realm and play songs from Interstellar and Dune. I kind of wish they didn't say what the movie was, so I could just be like, oh, that was Dark Knight. So, but it was really cool, a lot of fun. And it's funny you mentioned Dunkirk, because the song they played from Dunkirk was one of my favorite ones, and I didn't love that movie, and it's made me want to go back and rewatch Dunkirk with a new maybe appreciation for it, having heard that song they played from the movie. So yeah, Matt, it's a great night out, 1 hour long, different concert, super cool, and you're supporting some local artists too. So Candle Concerts, if you see the ads on Instagram like I did for the longest time, don't knock them. It's fire. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great recommendation, because I do see the ads and I had no idea what it was, and now I do. So I love listening to music live, so especially movie scores and stuff. So
there you go.
I never thought you'd rather bring this up on the pod, but I love that you did and bring it out to the people. That's awesome.
Yeah, surprise for all. Yeah, that's all I've got as well for now, but save some for the next episode. But yeah, no, great stuff, Matt. Great list. Like I said, already working on the 2026 list for what will hopefully be a strong top 10. Wonder if the Bone Temple will even crack that top 10 when it's all said and done, but never forget. Yeah, no, so any final notes for the listeners, Matt?
Just thank you everybody for listening. Eric, I want to thank you for, like, your list was awesome. I loved hearing you talk about your list and talking about the movies. I thought your list was great. Thank you everybody who submitted a movie. I hope you guys can check out the movies you haven't watched yet that are on both our lists. We appreciate you listening to the podcast every 2 weeks, and I hope you liked our 3 top 10 shows, because these are my 3 favorite shows of the year for sure, Eric. So again, thank you for listening, and enjoy the last of winter, folks. Hopefully it's done freaking soon.
True. Well said, Matt. So yeah, thanks a lot everybody for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy the Olympics. Let's go Canada. Let's get some hardware. And peace.